Guys, welcome back. Genius Bar, property, business, mindset. Your questions in the comments. I answer what I can answer. If I don't know the answer, we'll search it up. We'll get the relevant information. You take it from there. You do what you do with it. But everything that I know the answer to and everything that I've been through on my journey for the last decade in property and business, I will share all with you guys. Yesterday's video, unbelievable. Great feedback. I'm getting a lot of messages as well now from people outside of YouTube saying what you're doing with that Genius Bar is absolutely incredible. So yeah, feedback, 10th day. We're on the 10th day, guys. 28th of this month, I'm in Manchester. £11 for a full property training course day. If you guys want to come down, the link is in the description below. Get there whilst you can, because we are growing. It's getting bigger and just makes me smile. So there you go, guys. £11, Manchester. I'm up next. Right, let's start. Gary Stephen Jones. Hi, Steve. I often hear people say you can refinance and take the money tax-free if you're in a limited company. How does this work? So let me do an explanation for you and get it out across. So this will be a good way to start today, actually, guys, because a lot of people don't understand this. They get confused with this kind of thing. Let's say you buy a property for 150,000. You spend £50,000 on it. And the new end value, I'm using this hypothetically, is 300,000. Wouldn't we all love deals like that, guys? And your input was 150, meaning there's £150,000 potential profit. But you decide, I don't want to sell it because if I sell it, I have to pay corporation tax. I have to pay a lot of money out, basically. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refinance it. As long as the rental stacks up and the stress test is passed, you're okay. But for now, we're just saying 300,000. Out of that 300,000, you will have to leave 25% equity in the property. That is the lender's safety net. That's their safety cushion that if you don't pay your mortgage, they repossess. They're good. They know they're there. So 300,000, 25% is 75k, meaning they will give you 225,000. So now your outlay was 150, meaning you've got an extra £75,000 in the bank, and you also have £75,000 in equity. Now this £75,000 is obviously profit, because you only spent 150, but it is tax free because this is now classed as debt because you're servicing a mortgage on it. So you're having to pay mortgage repayments on that new money you've taken out. So it is actually, well, technically debt, but you don't pay any tax on it. So BRRR, buy, refurbish, refinance, rent if done correctly, it is the way forward. But it's not a newbie strategy because you've got to take a lot of things into consideration. Hope that answers your question, Gary. W. Bison, or Basin. Hi, Steve. Great content in these videos. I have a few questions regarding mortgages and revaluations. So let's say I have a loan of 100k for 25 years, 75% loan to value, and then after 10 years I want to remortgage the house on a 90% LTV to pull more money out, including capital appreciation so far. No, you can't do that because you're going to have a 75% loan to value mortgage in your limited company. So when you come to refinance it, you're going to have to pull out 75% and still leave 25% equity. 10 years later, it's definitely gone up, but you still can only pull out 75%. Unless they change the rules in the future, it's still 25, so it's 75-25 loan to value. So in this case, if I still had 45k before the remortgage, say the property is now worth 120 after the remortgage, I pull out 90% of the value, which is 108, then what happens to the 45? When you refinance, your old debt gets paid off and your new debt gets started. So let's say you had a 100 grand house and you had a 75 grand mortgage. In 10 years, it doubles to 200,000, which means you have to leave 50 in and you've pulled out 150. Out of that 150, 75 will pay it off, your existing, and £75,000 will be left. But it doesn't work like that. It works as a very simple formula, and I'll explain it to you because a lot of people get very confused by this. Very, very, very confused by this. And you've got to understand that you can't pull 90% loan to value. It doesn't work. It's 25%. So initially, you took 100k, you've put £25,000 down, your mortgage is 75k. That's your mortgage, okay? So 10 years later, the property is now worth 200k. You following me? So you refinance at 200k, that's what you want to do. You have to leave equity in the property, so you're going to have to leave 50k in the property. Out of the 150, which is your new mortgage value, this is already paid off. So that pays off with that. It just means now that you have a mortgage of 150 instead of 75. So this is interest only. So basically, your mortgage never gets paid off because what you're doing with buy-to-lets is cash flow. So you're trying to make passive income. But there are some people who will pay down their mortgages in order to have the asset paid off in 20 years, 25 years. You need to find the right strategy that works for you. But when you're doing buy-to-lets, guys, you've got to imagine the reason that we do buy-to-lets is because we want cash flow. Not interested in paying that asset off. Some people are, but most people aren't. So it's always going to be 75-25 as well. What are the best ways to find out how much a property is worth when there are no real comparables online? Valuation officers is always the way, and knowledge and experience will always help you massively. But don't speak to estate agents, speak to valuation officers. Cheers for the videos, they're a great source of daily information. I hope you can keep them going, Steve. Well, day 10, we're still here. Hey Steve, thank you for all you do to educate the community and help others. Please can you advise me on the steps I need to take in order to start moving in the right path to replace my 9 to 5 income? Would be happy to quit even if I made around 40 to 50k per year. I have about 100k in savings to start me off. I am a chartered accountant by profession but always only wanted to do this as backup. Property was always my end goal. I know it's a very specific question, but I think I could be helpful for anyone with a 9 to 5 wanting to get into property full time. Thanks again. Full time property. It's not easy. You need an income to replace your income usually. Flips, 6 to 9 months. BRR, 6 months. You need an income. Deal sourcing. It's the way forward. As a property investor, you should be deal sourcing anyway, because every deal that you break down that doesn't work for you might work for somebody else. So my advice to you is get into deal sourcing, get an income from it, invest your £100,000 into a joint venture, even a smaller property up north for yourself, get some skin in the game, get some hands-on experience and take it from there. This world is not for everybody, but it's the most amazing world to be a part of, in my opinion. And the sky truly is the limit. Steve Walkley. Hi Steve, great video again. Can I get the information of your contact for bathrooms, please? It will help me with my first flip that I'll be starting over the next few weeks. Not a property question, but would be good to know your journey. What was Steve Hamilton like before property and you first got into property? Thanks. Bathroom information, if you show me you're doing something, can you email me, steve@stevehamilton.com. I will put you in touch with my guy who supplies most of the country. But you've got to show me that you're actually doing something and you're not just wasting my time. I'm not saying you are, but that's what it is. Me before property. I could write a book, which I have, but not that type of book. My journey's crazy. You'd probably think that my story is actually fictional. There's 1% of what you see on social media, 99% of what you don't see on social media. Yeah. My past is my past for a reason. I don't hate my past because my past has made me who I am today. But I was always smart-ish, always had common sense, very good at understanding human beings, uneducated, but smart. I decided to leave school. There's a difference. I didn't get kicked out of school, and I didn't leave school because I wasn't smart. I left school because it didn't suit me at the time. I was in a household at 15 years old with my mum and my stepdad, and my stepdad was a very violent person. Alcohol was huge in our household. So I got out 15, quit school, went and moved in with my nan and granddad. So yeah, I want to release some information on YouTube about my past, my story. I want to do it again, do some bits and pieces. But my past defines me, but it won't dictate my future. We all have a story. It's just that mine seems to be exceptional. Great content, Steve. I'm getting prepared for a BRR. Would love the Nottingham contact for bathrooms. I'm sure you would, Clooney. I'm sure you would. Everybody wants my contacts. Everybody wants my contacts. Paul Simpson, regular on the channel. Yeah, I wonder why you didn't just name the business. It took me 10 years to build these contacts up. It took me 10 years to get in front of these people. It took me millions of pounds and a very long time to build my network. I'm not just going to post it all over social media so some random ass, stupid ass person just starts calling up, wasting people's times. Business. If you've got somebody who sits in an office and answers a call all day, they're on a salary. They're being called by idiots and stupid people or uneducated people. It's not good, is it? When I know someone's serious and wants to use a service, then obviously I'm more than happy to hand over whoever, but I'm not putting it out to the internet when 99% of people are just time wasters. There's a reason that the 1% is the 1%. 99% of people just talk and don't do anything, and 1% of people get off their arse and actually do something. So if I put this out here and 1,000 people watch this video in 24 hours, there's a very good chance that 900 people aren't really going to do anything, even though that's 90%. But yeah, that's why. Nice one, Steve. Yet again, awesome video. Thanks for answering. Makes total sense about the end clients in the area. Maybe you can elaborate on how you approach researching the area and figuring out how you're going to target as an end client. Slavzoot, I spoke to you today on the phone actually. Common sense. Slav, are you the person that didn't take up the deal sourcing thing actually? That was a big mistake. Very, very big mistake. Common sense. Driving around an area, you know whether it's working class, middle class or affluent. Looking at the cars, looking at the shops, looking at the high streets, looking at the schools, police stations, hospitals. It's so easy to walk around and figure out an area. And to be fair, you don't even have to walk around. You only have to drive down a few streets and you know what an area is. So my advice to you, when you're looking for end users, just look at the surrounding areas and what's going on. And it will give you a clear understanding of what you're going to be doing with the property once it's finished. End users are key because it tells you what level of renovation and refurb and development that you need to do in order to get the money you want to get. Stephen Salamke, I think it's great what you said. If you went about it in a different way, it could have been a huge problem in the future for you as well as, but it's nice that you've done that. After here, and that I'm interested to see if you've got any other random stories that you've had to deal with in regards to tenants. I think Stephen's referring to the lady with the fire. Yeah, that was a very sad situation, but hey ho. Yeah, I've got loads of problems with tenants. I've got one right now who has got a leak in a roof in the valleys. I've got properties in the valleys. And he hasn't paid his rent for 7 months. I spoke to him in February and I said to him, what's the situation? Oh, I'm starting work on Monday. I've got a job for a train company. I said, okay. I said, listen, you got a few arrears. Don't stress. Add some money on each month from when you get your job and just clear the arrears and let's go. It's not my job. It's the agent's job. But I still gave him a call. 7 months later, speaking to accounts, it just come in my head. Did that client pay that money? He's paid no rent for 7 months. Okay, what are we doing? We're going to serve him a notice. Okay, let me speak to him. Didn't answer my phone. He was blocked actually. So I called him up on another number. Hello? Hey, Steve Hamilton, your landlord. Oh, hello. Hi, you haven't paid your rent for 7 months? Yeah, I've got a job starting on Monday for a train company. I said, you said that in February? He's like, yeah, well, I said, I'm serving you notice. I said, you really need to leave. I've got a mortgage on this place and I've got to pay. And he was like, so? I need somewhere to live. I said, yeah, but I'm practically your dad because I'm paying for you to live. It's not a good look as a 45-year-old man. If you're in trouble, you could have told us. If you didn't have a job, you could have told us. If you couldn't afford to pay, have a conversation. You just ignored everybody for 7 months and think you're going to live in my house for completely free. And he was like, well, I am, because you can't keep me out. And you got to do this and you got to do that. So he had all the laws and bits and pieces and stuff like that. That happened last week. That was quite a funny one. Then he blocked me again. So he's living in my house rent free. So basically he can call me daddy because technically I am paying for his rent. It's very frustrating as a landlord, but also I don't know his circumstances. But you got to look at both sides of the story like I do. I don't want to say nothing to him because I don't want him to be pushed over the edge, because he might be under real stress, real financial constraints. But also he's got to understand that I can't pay his mortgage. Doesn't work like that. I've had one where I bought this really nice building, and it was in Blackpool in 2016, and it was like 30 rooms or something. And when I went in there, every room had a homeless person sleeping in there, and it absolutely shit me up. Opening the doors, another one jumped out. My heart was gone. Didn't think it would happen again. Next one, oh my God, it was quite scary because the whole place was quite dark as well. We was in there with torches on our phones. So that was a bit of a crazy one. What else has happened to me? That's quite funny. Found a World War II bunker. That was quite interesting. Found loads of safes in properties, thinking there was going to be gold or watches or something in there, and it always turns out there's nothing in there whatsoever. What else has happened to me that's quite interesting? Similar to what happened with that lady yesterday, I had someone that believed that they still owned one of the houses that I owned. That happened a few years ago. She convinced that the house that we was renovating, she still lived there. She walked in, she put her bags on the floor, and she was asking where her sofas and stuff were. That was a random one. I've bought properties off footballers, boxers. Always found some really cool stuff in the attics. But loads of houses that were used to be grow houses. We found one before where the door had been kicked off by the police. The grow house had been stopped. And then when we was renovating, we went down into the basement and the police hadn't been down there, and it was just full of plants. I mean full, from one end of the basement to the other end of the basement. The door for the basement was actually covered with plimps, and we took the plimps off because the floor was uneven. And as we took it up, the door came up, and we went downstairs fully kitted out, fully. It was crazy. We had to call the police and wait for them to come. And they had a notice that they did kick the door off like 2 or 3 months before that, and then we had to wait for them to do their thing. It took like 3 days. But if I think of any more, I'll let you know some more. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Does adding a cloakroom add value to a property? No. Ali, hi for UT. No, it doesn't add any value to the property. In fact, value engineering. You got to figure out what adds value. You don't want dead space. You need to make sure and maximize floor space, especially if you're doing a smaller property. Downstairs toilets, they add value. Utility rooms, they add value. Nurseries, offices, or playrooms, offices, home studies, they add value. Second showers, en-suites, they add value. Extensions for kitchens in certain areas, they add value. A decent patio and a garden, that adds value. A decent drive adds value. And the overall look of a property. If it's got that wow factor, that will always add value. Monetary wise, all the others do. The wow factor one is the one that gets someone to buy something. And that's all the questions today, guys. It's everything you've asked me. Every single thing you've asked me. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully you've got some good information. And hopefully on Monday, we have a lot more questions. Remember, guys, business and mindset. If you want to know anything about setting up companies, running companies, staff, structures, anything like that, sales funnels, CRM systems, guys, hit me up. I'm here to help. This is the Genius Bar, and this kind of feature that I'm doing on my channel Monday to Friday, this is going to go big. This is going to blow. So get the questions in before there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of questions and we can't get through them. And every video has to be timed and set to a certain amount. So it's recorded in the same day, uploaded in the same day, and released in the same day. But 6 p.m. releases seem to be working for us. It's Friday today. Everyone's out. Everyone's doing their own thing. Friday's videos normally have a little bit of a stutter, but we'll see. Last Friday's wasn't great. Let's see what happens this Friday. But guys, thank you for joining me, and I will catch you all on Monday for another Genius Bar.